What's up, everyone? Welcome to DSPReacts, and tonight I am reviewing the entirety of the Peacemaker television series that aired on HBO Max over the course of 2021, I believe it was. Actually, I take that back. It was 2022 after the release of the James Gunn The Suicide Squad movie, which released in 2021. Peacemaker was actually one of the characters in that movie, and interestingly enough, they decided to make an entire series about the guy on HBO Max. I have a lot to say about this because it is very weird, to me, all right? So weird circumstances around this. First of all, I just want you to think about this, okay? James Gunn becomes a major part of the DC creative team. You know, he's essentially in charge of the DC EU, right? The Entertainment Universe, Expanded Universe, whatever you want to call it. And he decides he's going to remake the Suicide Squad, okay? Basically, all of DC's eggs go into this new basket, and James Gunn makes this Suicide Squad movie with an ensemble cast and everything. While he's filming the movie, likes John Cena, that's the actor who plays the Peacemaker, likes his character so much that he just decides, I want to do a spin-off show with this character. Now, the movie's not out yet. No one knows if anyone's going to like the movie, but they're already deciding there will be another show. In fact, there's an epilogue scene in the Suicide Squad movie that says Peacemaker actually is coming back for another show. Like, it actually says it's the post-credits scene. So this was all part of James Gunn's plan all along without ever seeing if people were going to like the new Suicide Squad, accept them, and that a series spinoff would be warranted. It's very odd to me that these kind of creative decisions are made before you even know what's going to happen. So what happened? The Suicide Squad movie flopped. It did not do very well. And because of that, I mean, there's a lot of factors. Some people say, oh, it was COVID and people weren't ready to go back to theaters yet. Oh, it was the original Suicide Squad movie in 2016, didn't do so well. Excuse me. And because of that, people weren't ready for more Suicide Squad. They didn't want Suicide Squad to begin with, so it was destined to fail. And that's all well and good. But I think what's happened is James Gunn, over the course of him making these Guardians of the Galaxy movies for Marvel, has gained a lot of great faith within the superhero movie making community. And these producers and these companies think of him as, oh, you know, this is like guaranteed hits if he touches them. But sadly, with that Suicide Squad movie in 2021, that didn't happen. It flopped, and now, oops, they put all their eggs in one basket. They gave James Gunn all this creative control and gave him all this money to make the series, but the movie it's based on didn't do well, so how is the series going to be good? Could it be good, even if the movie wasn't that good? It's a good question. If you want to see my review of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, it's already present on this channel. Give it a look, and in a nutshell, not a bad movie, better than the original Suicide Squad from 2016 in my opinion, but still not a good movie. Disjointed, characters that don't really make sense, or, for example, Peacemaker and the other main character, Bloodsport, are almost identical as characters. Humor that falls flat a lot of the time, excessive gore that doesn't seem to make much sense in the movie, and in general, just not an overall great feeling of a movie. It's okay, but it's not great. The Peacemaker show tries to follow up on that and make it into an 8-episode series for HBO Max, each episode roughly being around 40 to 45 minutes long. Man. Let's just put it this way. And by the way, there's definitely going to be plot spoilers in the show. I have to tell you some of the plot. So understand, if you're going to watch this show for yourself, you might not want to watch this review because I am going to talk about some major plot points that need to be discussed. Basically, here's the deal. James Gunn attempted to make a superhero version of Archer. If you've ever seen the TV show Archer, okay, it's an ensemble cast of comedians and people here. They're all different people, different races, different body types, and it makes sense because it's all used comedically for maximum effect. There's a lot of dialogue in Archer that is completely off the wall zany, running jokes and things that you wouldn't think would work, but it works. Archer is about a team of spies, basically, doing spy-like work, and it's contracted work, and they all have adult humor and things interjected. It's a very adult-oriented series. This essentially is, so we all work for the government. Peacemaker survives the events of the Suicide Squad movie, but now is essentially roped endlessly into helping the government, and it's not even clear if they're ever going to let him off the hook at this point. I mean, he just did the Suicide Squad mission, but now he has to do a whole other mission in addition right after the fact. some of the characters you see in the show are actually directly from the Suicide Squad movie. This one here and this one here are two of the agents that were working for Amanda Waller in the Suicide Squad, but turn on her at the end of the movie. And because they turned on her, now they're forced to do work with Peacemaker moving forward, which is essentially a job that no one wants. No one likes Peacemaker. They think he's a jackass. They don't think he's a serious superhero. Although he is an effective assassin, they know that he's essentially not a very good person and not very dependable. So this is kind of like the bottom of the barrel work that they're forced to do now for turning on Amanda Waller in the Suicide Squad movie. There's some newer characters. On the right-hand side, you've got a new agent who actually is the daughter of Amanda Waller, and the only reason that she gets the job is because she's the daughter and needs money. Not really good recruiting pool for, spy work or espionage or secret government agents if the only reason you're getting the job is that you're the daughter of one of the head people. I mean, is she trained? I mean, she does things in the movie, but it's not ever clear. She's, I'm just doing this for extra money. How did you get your spy training? Like, what? It doesn't even seem to make sense, okay? This guy is the person in charge of the mission, running the whole deal, but later on is revealed to be a different kind of character, which you didn't expect. And then this guy way over here is the zany sidekick of the Peacemaker called Vigilante. And sometimes he's funny, and sometimes he's absolutely obnoxious and not funny. And honestly, that's the show in a nutshell. It's kind of trying to be zany and off the wall in a lot of ways. A lot of the times, for example, we're in a car talking about the mission. All of a sudden, one of the characters starts talking about their dogs, and that character misinterprets the conversation to be about their dogs. Funny? No. But James Gunn thinks it is. He thinks it's hilarious, because all kinds of things like that are running jokes and or things throughout the show that just, they don't hit. They're not funny. When you watch Archer, most of the humor hits. Even the things that are out of place, it hits. When you watch this show, you're like, man, I feel like I'm watching a knockoff of Archer, only where they're trying to say it's superhero version. But all the gore exists, the adult content exists. It's just not funny. That's not good, okay? So what is the overall plot of the show? Well, aliens. They're aliens that have invaded Earth, and they're infecting humans. And essentially, Peacemaker has to do various different missions, assassinating certain humans controlled by the aliens. Later on, there's a mission where he has to basically try to find their food source and how are they staying alive on Earth if they need the specific food source. And over the course of the show, he has run-ins with various other heroes and villains. For example, he runs into this guy called Judo Man. The running joke is that Judo Man is a short guy who might be Asian. You can't really tell because his outfit has a mask on, but they're joking, oh, he's a short Asian guy and he's a martial artist. Get it? Because Asians are good at martial arts. And that's the joke. And they constantly insult his height. Funny? Not really. But James Gunn thinks it is, so it becomes a big running meme throughout the show. There is some interesting stuff here. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to completely crap on the show. I believe his name is Robert Patrick, plays Peacemaker's dad, who is a former supervillain who retired, but now comes back from retirement for the show. And essentially, he is a super duper racist who apparently used to be in the Ku Klux Klan, or was one of the leaders of the Ku Klux Klan, and he was a super villain as part of the Klan, which is kind of crazy to think about. And so there's this dynamic between Peacemaker and his dad, where Peacemaker is not a racist, doesn't want to be, but he keeps getting dragged into this whole racism thing because his father won't leave him alone. It's like he can never shake that feeling that he's going to be like his dad. And his dad is always kind of a thorn in his side because of that. And there's plot lines there. There's interesting plot lines and dynamic between some of the agent characters here, but it's all wedged in with a bunch of over-the-top sexual humor, gore, and things that just don't resonate. For example, I'll give you another example. They're going to go to a mission, and they have a chainsaw. Well, they say, just leave the chainsaw in the truck. There's no reason that we need that chainsaw. But then they all have to make jokes of how they want to bring the chainsaw in and use it like it's some kind of a video game. Then, of course, later on, they end up using the chainsaw, and it's incredibly gory. And it's like, what happened? It's like, it's just, again, on paper, maybe if the writing was better, or if there was the writers of Archer making the show, then maybe it would have been funny. But it's just not funny, okay? Even the opening number, just so you know, the intro to the show has been memed all over the internet. It's basically John Cena and the entire cast of the show dancing. They're all doing this synchronized dancing and everything. The dancing is actually impressive and funny. In fact, before I ever watched this show, I saw this dance number on social media without audio. I just watched the dance. I thought, that's kind of funny. They got the whole cast dancing. Then when I watched the show, I listened to it with audio. The opening theme song for the show doesn't even fit the dancing. The dancing looks like it would be synchronized to like maybe a funny club song or something. No, it's like a groovy rock song. It's like, it doesn't even match the theme. It's so weird. The whole show is kind of like that. Like, it should work on paper, an adult-oriented superhero themed show with agents that all have their own personalities and they kind of go at it. It should work. It just doesn't, though. A lot of the humor falls flat. Another thing, the show is very woke. Now, I don't mind that. You want to have woke moments in the show and woke characters. I don't care. This character right here is a lesbian. She has a wife. I don't care. Doesn't really affect me. They could have very well been a husband who she had as her partner. You know, that wouldn't have mattered either. But there are definitely moments in the show that are cliche and or shoved down your throat. For example, this woman is known as the one that all the guys want to sleep with, and so she has to be the strong, independent woman who every time that a guy tries to hit on her, she beats him up, even though she's a super skinny, not necessarily realistic that she would have the ability to beat up any men in this movie or this show. She doesn't look like that type. If they wanted to actually have an actress who looked like, okay, she's capable, maybe she's physically fit, she's buff, she could fight guys off, that would make sense. But instead they cast this actress who obviously that's not who she is in real life, and they try to portray, the super strong alpha woman who can fight off all the guys because they're all sexist towards her. You see, it's kind of like you can have these themes but not be so heavy-handed. The show is very heavy-handed with a lot of its themes, and because of that, it's not funny. You understand? Like, it's not even acceptable if you're so heavy-handed with it. It becomes annoying rather than just something natural that you accept. And that theme is hammered home a million times. You end up seeing her wife in the show a ton of time. It's like, you got to remember, she's a lesbian with a wife. You just got to remember that. That's her character, right? Like, why is that even part of her character? Who cares, right? So, to me, I'm watching the show. It's like, there were some parts I laughed, admittedly, a few funny parts. For me, the funniest, or the best part, of the show was the plot. There's an alien invasion. What's really going on with the aliens? Because at one point, there's actually aliens that seem to be on the good side and aliens on a bad side, and they're kind of going at each other. And that's kind of an interesting dynamic. However, just to forewarn you, it doesn't really pay off. By the end of the show, it doesn't really matter. There's really no awesome resolution at the end or anything like that. It's like, oh, that was great that I watched the whole thing. What's funny is at the very end of the series, there's one scene with a cameo from the Justice League. Okay, and yes, it's the Justice League from the Zack Snyder Justice League movie. Although it's funny because it shows all their silhouettes, and then Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are never shown up close. Only Aquaman and the Flash are shown. And yes, it's actually played by those Jason Momoa, and I forget off the top of my head right now the actor who plays the Flash. It's really them. They're really the actors in the show, but they're only for literally one line. That's a joke. That's been a running joke. The joke is that Aquaman sleeps with fish. That's actually a running joke in the show. It's not funny, and it's actually ripped off of The Boys. Yes, that's a running joke in The Boys, and it's a rip-off of that show, and they put it into this show as if it's original when it's not. And they make that joke overall over the series. It's never funny. And then in this last scene with Aquaman and the Flash, they reference that joke. It's still not funny. So it's what I mean. Like, James Gunn, I've seen his Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the two that are out so far. The first Guardians movie is genius. It's funny. The humor is funny. You know, some of the stuff Groot does, some of the stuff that Drax does. Oh my God, hilarious. Deadpan comedy style stuff that's really funny. This show tries to emulate that and have that kind of humor and fails. And again, it feels like they really want to be Archer, the show, and they're not. It's just not funny. And it sucks because it's 8 episodes. It's big budget, by the way. It's got CGI. It's got special effects. It's got gore. It's got all the things you would want in like a high-end series. And what it ends up feeling like is someone wanted to combine the Power Rangers with Archer, and it fails miserably because it just doesn't work. And what's hilarious about that is maybe if they had waited to see how people would like the Suicide Squad movie in 2021 before they greenlit this show and started filming it, then maybe they wouldn't have even made it. But they ended up with an entire series that's just not that good. It's cringy. It's force-handed with its themes of liberalism and things. And it's just not a good show. Overall, I didn't really enjoy it. At the end of the day, when I saw all 8 episodes, I was hoping there would be something at the end that would really be like, wow, it was worth watching. No. I actually feel like I kind of wasted a lot of time watching the show, and I could have watched something else that was better, like Archer. And I'm kind of sad that maybe I did watch this instead of Archer, because I haven't seen the recent seasons of Archer. Maybe I should go watch that now. So, The Peacemaker, honestly, not good and not very funny. They try hard, they fail, and pretty much kind of suffers the same fate as the Suicide Squad reboot from 2021, where effort is made, money's put into it. It's not that it's low budget. It's not that the acting's bad. The writing is just not that good. And the problem is it's written by James Gunn. So there's one person to blame. Sucks because I like Guardians, but I'm not liking this DC stuff. I've seen 2 things now from him in the DC universe. I didn't like the Suicide Squad, and I didn't like this. So I'm not sure what's going on with James Gunn at this point, but it's just not good stuff. And I hope that he does better, because now apparently he's in charge of the whole DCEU. And if they're all going this way, I don't think they're going to have, they're not going to be around for very long. Let's put it that way. Okay? But Peacemaker, not very good. I give it thumbs down. Don't recommend it. And I think it's kind of a waste of time and a fail. All right. That's my honest review of the Peacemaker show. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Be sure, of course, to tell me if you agree or not in the comments. And I'll see you next time for another review here on DSP Reacts. Thanks for watching.